Hi everyone, I'm Lisa here from Down to Earth Gardening and Design, and welcome to today's video, which is a rose garden tour. So I am here in Edisto, Orangeburg, South Carolina, and I really hope I'm pronouncing Edisto correctly because it's such a gorgeous memorial garden that is well worth the trip. It is springtime, it's April, and my Connecticut friends are going to be a little bit jealous because roses are not going to bloom for a couple more months back in Connecticut. But here they're just about starting, and I do want to tell you a little bit more about these gardens, but I'm going to try to stay focused on today's videos, which is on these beauties here. So Edisto Memorial Gardens, it's a memorial that was built or put together back in the 1920s, and it started with azaleas, about 5 acres of azaleas, so there's much more to see here than roses, but in my opinion these are the main feature. There's about 4,800 roses. This is a memorial to war veterans in the Orangeburg area, so those who gave their lives to the wars. And it's just a beautiful memorial here. So like I said, there's about 4,800 roses here. Many of them are labeled, and so I'd like to give you a tour and I can show you some blooms and identify some, because I think seeing these is really great for inspiration to think about what you may want to do in your own gardens, or just to sit back, relax, and enjoy. So I see shrub roses, I see floribunda, I see hybrid tea roses, I see some rose standards, I see some climbers, and I wanted to start right by this patch here of Carefree Wonder, which is a pink shrub rose that actually does well in my garden zone, which is back home in Connecticut, zone 6B, so we will often plant those there. So as you know, roses can be finicky, especially where I'm from, but here seems to be a pretty great climate. Now, the city of Orangeburg does have a rose festival, which sounds pretty fantastic. I haven't been. It's around Mother's Day, and I hear it's really popular and things are really blooming at that point. So check it out and come on for my little tour and see some roses today. Okay, big smiles for me today. There's quite a few in bloom that I do want to show you, but some of them are not blooming. So if you want to see more, pay a visit. It's well worth it. But I thought I would start right here with the climbers, because the climbers are staggered around some of the perimeter of the rose garden. And this one here is Golden Showers, which is also a pretty common climber back in Connecticut in my area. Beautiful rose that is lightly fragrant and a true golden yellow. So I wanted to start here. I'm going to give you a view, and then we're going to walk down to the red climbing roses, which are called Altissimo. So I also love how they have some layers of roses staggered here. So they have this really pretty little shrub rose in front of the yellow climbers, and that is the Flamingo Colorscape. And I think it really adds a lot of interest to do a little bit of layering with your roses and stagger your heights and your colors. So it's a great combination. It's also pretty fantastic how they have all these roses organized. And what I will say about roses is they are a little higher maintenance. They require a little more fertilizing. And so to have them all planted together is really ideal because same soil, sun, irrigation, fertilizer requirements. So it just makes gardening so much easier from a maintenance perspective when you have things with similar needs that are planted together. Hybrid tea rose. This is Peter male and Ooh La La, fragrant as well. Really lovely. Look at the buds here too. So I have to show you this one. This is called Tiffany Hybrid Tea Rose. And as you can see, it's a little tall, but it is so stunning. It has this perfect pink and yellow bloom. It almost looks fake. And what's even better about it is sweet fragrance. It has such a great fragrance that it really stopped me in my tracks, and I had to just show you this one. So there's not many blooms on it right now. I can see a few buds, but the Tiffany Hybrid Tea Rose does better in the heat. It'll perform better. So that may explain why right now there really aren't many buds here. Glad I found one though. One of the things that I really love about visiting gardens and going on these field trips is I get to see what I might like to try in my own garden, or some things that my clients might really love. So when I see something like this, and this here is Princess Anne, which is an English shrub rose, it is not only beautiful, the color is right up my alley, but look at the buds on this. Now, you know these gardens here are probably really tough to care for because A, there's so much here, and B, typically gardens like this are cared for by volunteers. So probably not much care, and they are covered with buds. The leaves look so healthy. So this here is a winner for me. So definitely I'm going to put this in my journal as something that I may want. Okay, this is for my knockout rose loving friends here. So I just stumbled across some coral knockout roses, and I don't know about all of you, but I am such a fan of the knockout roses, and it's so much fun to see them here in the coral color, which is really a pinky orange. Beautiful, doing so well as usual. It's kind of what we would expect for the knockouts. But here again, you're getting to see them in the field. They probably don't get a ton of care, and they are really lush, very shrubby, covered in buds, and the coral is such a pretty, pretty color. So in this garden here, we have some Carefree Spirit shrub roses, which is more of a petite rose, sometimes used as a ground cover. And then in the center here are the rose standards, making quite the statement, which they always do. And I just want to talk a little bit about them. So unfortunately, there's no tag on these here. I would guess they are a knockout rose standard tree, also called tree standard or lollipop shape. But look at how gorgeous these are. They're a little pricier when you purchase them because they have to be grafted, and they're in the nursery for a couple of years. They are training them and bringing them along, but they are well worth it. They are really elegant here. So they're a little more care, and I just want to point out a couple things. One is typically the tree standards will have to be staked to keep them upright. And number two, they are a little bit more care than the shrub roses are because they do have these suckers, and the suckers do have to be removed. So you can see quite a few down here. And it's funny too, because of the grafting, you'll notice that the suckers appear to be a different color. So it's one of the roses that they use to do the grafting and create this beauty. You can see here it's a little more pink. That's always a sure sign when you see something different than the habit and the color that you're supposed to have that's coming out of your rose or your plant. So that you have to remove, or it will just take over the whole plant, tree, shrub. whatever it is. It happens a lot. Okay, so we're wrapping up our tour, sadly. It's gonna take a lot to get me out of here. So what I also wanna say about these beautiful gardens is that somehow they are absolutely free to the public, and that's so fantastic. And it's a wonderful way to honor our veterans, which we all appreciate so very much. But it's open 365 days a year from dawn to dusk, and I see people with their families, with their cameras, having picnics, and there's some other things to see here as well. There's a small children's sensory garden. The camellias and the azaleas are also here, but they have just passed this time of year. There's a beautiful duck pond over here, very, very scenic, with walking paths, and I'm gonna go check out. I see some viburnum, I see some irises, so I'm not done yet. But stay tuned for more of these field trips. They're such great inspiration, and it's fun to see things out in the field and maybe some things that we want to try ourselves. You never know. So thanks again for joining me. I do appreciate all of you so much at home, and I really hope that you enjoyed this tour. If you liked it, go ahead and tap like, and always reach out with your comments and questions, and subscribe to our channel because we have so many more gardening videos coming your way.